Bonjour tout le monde. Good morning, everyone. My name is Darlene Boileau, and I sit on the board of directors of the Ottawa branch of the National Association of Federal Retirees. On behalf of Ottawa branch, I'm delighted to welcome you to our second Healthy Aging webinar with Amy Friesen. This webinar today is called 5 Steps to Your Ideal Retirement Living Choice. Au nom de la section d'Ottawa, je suis ravie de vous accueillir à notre deuxième webinaire avec Amy Friesen sur le vieillissement en bonne santé. Please note that the webinar will be presented in English and participation in both official languages is encouraged. S'il y a des questions en français, surtout n'hésitez pas à les poser. Also, the webinar will be recorded and you'll receive an email after the presentation with instructions on how to access the video. Now, before we proceed any further, I want to mention that your association is having another mega recruitment drive this year. We are asking for your help to recruit new members to help us grow. There are great prizes to be won for referring new members to us. Some samples of those prizes include this year, the grand prize is $10,000 in cash, courtesy of Johnson Home and Auto Insurance. Every time you successfully recruit a new member, you will get a chance to win this prize and other great prizes. And any referral, no matter what, you will always receive a $5 coffee card. You really can't lose, and your association and Ottawa branch can grow. After today's presentation, our branch will send you a separate email with information on how to participate in the mega recruitment drive and information about other webinars that are coming up. Now, let me introduce our presenter for today's session, who is Amy Friesen, who you can see on your screen right now. A best-selling author, multi-award winner, and specialist in the retirement living industry for the last 17 years, Amy has assisted seniors and their families from around the world to find retirement living options that suit their individual needs. In 2014, Amy founded Tea and Toast, a local search service for seniors specializing in retirement and long-term care homes. Amy educates and speaks to the community and local businesses regularly about the retirement living industry and its complexities. Amy is also well known locally for the assistance she organized and provided for seniors during the 2018 tornado, as well for her participation in the Santa for Seniors program. So please join me in giving Amy a very warm welcome. Over to you, Amy.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thanks for joining us today. I'm so grateful. There's so many of you on today. We have 62 people with us this morning, which is amazing. So let's just start briefly by talking about housekeeping items, just so that you know how the webinar is going to go. Today, if you have a question to ask me, I'm going to be taking up all of the questions at the end of the session today. However, if you hover on the bottom of your Zoom where everything is laid out at the bottom, there's a question and answer tab that you can hover over and put in your questions. I'm getting some issues with audio, so let's just wait 1 second and see if it catches up. Just 1 second, we're just getting a little bit of issue with audio for some reason. Okay, let's see, can everyone hear me now? I'm getting in the chat function here. See if everyone can hear me a little bit more, I'm not sure. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I'm not really sure why the audio is not working. Just 1 second, okay, everyone? Bear with me just for a minute. Let's see if we can fix it for us. Zoom's not playing nice with us this morning, so let's just 1 second, okay? Okay, is this any better? I'm looking at the chat. Can anybody tell me? Nope, no better. Okay. Well, forget that idea then. I can't sign out, sign back in, so I'll lose everyone on the webinar, unfortunately. It's let me see. Lynn's in here, not sure. Thanks for all the great suggestions. We're all hooked up properly here. So just a minute. Let me see if I can get something else to work. Okay, is that any better? Interesting. Okay, any comments that you can see? I do have my video off. That's not my video on at the moment. The sound quality seems not to be working properly. Okay, any better now? Oh, yes. Astounding better. Let's go on that. Woo! Okay, I found it. Thanks, guys. I appreciate everybody's support in the chat. You're all terrific. Okay. Woo! Let's go back to what we were doing here. Okay. So question and answer. If you'd like to leave a question, just go and hover on the bottom, and there's a Q&A portion, and you can write it in there. Some people are mentioning I'm not on video. I'm not going to stay on video for the webinar right now. I'm going to come back on after. And I fixed the black box. I think we're all good here. So if you do speak French, I only speak English. However, if you do have a question in French, please feel free to type it in the question and answer box. And Darlene's here to help with any questions that are in French. And I'm equally happy to, of course, take all the questions, French or English, and we'll just translate them. Okay, looks like we're good to go here. Awesome. Thanks for your patience. I super appreciate it. So today we're going to talk about the 5 steps to your ideal retirement living choice. So as we said before, I'm Amy Friesen. I'm an educator and a speaker, as well as founder of Tea and Toast, where we help families who are looking to move to a retirement home, and we match the retirement homes to their needs so that they know that all of their needs for the present and the future are taken care of. I also have a background in marketing and psychology, just to give you a little bit of information about me. I wanted to take a minute to give you a bit more information and introduce you to the things in my life and the people in my life. This is my husband, Mike, and my little lady, Eva. And Eva is currently showing me a lot of parallels between my work and family life. For instance, we have had to tour daycares recently by video tour, which is definitely what I've been doing a lot with our clients. Oh, we're back to breaking up. Hold on a minute. Sounds gone wonky again. I don't know why this sounds wonky. Just a minute here. Okay, everybody, thanks for your comments. Any better now? I'm wondering if it's the rain that's affecting the connection. Okay, just a second here. I am working on it. I'm not really sure. Just a second here. Oh, it's better. We're back. Okay, I guess maybe it's the rain that's affecting all the connection. No, you're not supposed to see me. Some of the folks are writing in. I'm not on video right now. Okay, so let's get going again. Thanks for letting me know if you can't hear anything. I appreciate it. I can see your comments. I think maybe we're fighting with rain today. Okay, so as I was saying, Eva's been going to a new daycare, and we've had to do a lot of video touring for the daycares, which is what I'm doing with a lot of my clients. I'm also a pet mom to Ruby and Sigmund and Levon and Mabel. I am an avid cook and photographer, and in case you didn't know, I'm a 2-time tractor championship. But on a more serious note, I have 17 years experience in the retirement industry, as well as experience in long-term care. Throughout my many years, I have assisted over 1,000 families in the retirement living search. And I've also been a speaker for the last 5 years, usually in person and for small and large groups. So we're venturing into the webinar sphere now. And so I'm grateful, like I said, there's about 60 of you on. So as a bonus for staying to the end, I've saved something for a download at the end, and I can give you information on that. So if you stay to the end, you'll get a complimentary download. So let's get started. So I like to start off and talk about your care path. And the care path looks different for everyone. Now, a care path can be from your home, getting in-home care and modifications in your home, to going to a retirement home. I often call them cruise ships on land, and that's not to scare folks that they're too expensive for everybody to move into. It's actually more so because they're, you know, although they do care, the retirement homes are also doing a lot of social for everyone. And I'm going to get into definitions in a little bit. But you can go from home to retirement home to a long-term care or nursing home. And this nursing home is in Ohio, and they specialize with dementia clients. And I just love this home. So the other care path you can go from is your home to the nursing home. And so it does change based on your own situation. So the number one obstacle when I work with clients is the lack of education in the general public even on the differences between retirement homes and nursing homes. So what is a retirement home? A retirement home is a publicly run home. There is care anywhere from being an independent resident, meaning possibly your housekeeping and your meals are taken care of, all the way up to excessive care, and we'll get into the definitions of that later, but retirement homes can offer quite a lot of care. They allow people to live with their peers who have similar life experiences, and retirement living it's easier for spouses to stay together, although they could stay in the same suite or different suites, but often they can stay in the same building, especially when we're working with our clients, because that is one of the criteria that we go over. Now, a couple of extra definitions I wanted to share with you today that'll help. Independent activities of daily living, also referred to as IADL. These are often tasks learned in our teen years, such as managing transportation, finance, medication, meal prep, shopping, and general communications. Whereas activities of daily living, ADL, it's just cut off on the bottom, sorry about that. Our self-care tasks we learn when we're young, like walking and bathing and transferring. And by transferring, I mean from one surface to another. And also things like toileting and dressing. So sometimes when people are in hospital, they're referring to IADL. Someone needs help with IADLs or all of their ADLs. So just so you have an idea kind of what those mean. So what is a nursing home? A nursing home is a publicly subsidized facility. It's run by both private companies as well as the public sector. It's a very much like a hospital-like setting, and it requires a special type of roadmap to navigate. It's a little harder to stay together with your spouse in a long-term care home, and oftentimes, like I said, it's a roadmap that is very difficult to kind of navigate for. Now with COVID, I'm also getting asked a lot about the nursing homes and retirement homes with outbreaks. So generally speaking, most of and many of the outbreaks are in the nursing homes, and they have a substantial residents in the outbreaks. And so for the most part, a lot of the homes and nursing homes are closed down. I'm not going to get into it too much today, but there is the main difference between the two. So a lot of the media is about nursing homes. So just keep that in mind. There's also an Ottawa Public Health daily dashboard that you can look at for up-to-date information about the outbreaks. So let's talk about care needs and the Lynn. The Lynn is also it's an acronym for Local Health Integration Network. There are 14 LHINs across Ontario, and they're funded through our taxes. And they also offer subsidized services through community contacts. So there's sometimes the charge is completely covered depending on what it is, and sometimes there's subsidized items from the public. So here we're going to look at what are the steps in the Lynn's assessment process, just to give you kind of a high level overview. And I'm going to also tell you a little bit more about the Lynn. So the assessment process for the Lynn, when you're looking for care in your home or in a retirement home, which we will touch on, first you need to contact the Lynn. You need to either on the, well, usually on phone, but they can also do by email. You need to qualify with the Lynn. You need to have a discussion with the case manager. They will then do a home visit with you to look over the whole scenario, the environment, and your care needs, and then you apply for care with the Lynn. A question that I often get is, do I need my doctor to put a referral in for the Lynn? No, you don't need to have a professional do the referral. You can refer yourself to the Lynn as well. Your family can do the same. It's basically, if they call you and someone is referred, it is your choice at the end of the day whether you accept or decline the service, but anybody can put the referral in. So let's talk a little bit more about what the Lynn can do for home care in your home. I did touch on this in our last webinar, but I just want to revisit briefly to make sure that all of our, we've associated all of our things together. Now, the Lynn can do different health services, and often they have nurses and personal support workers that come in and help. They can help with personal care like bathing and dressing, and sometimes even homemaking services like laundry and cleaning and meals. And then, of course, they can also help with end-of-life care as well. There's a whole palliative team associated with the Lynn that you can take advantage of. Now, the Lynn looks a little different in retirement living. They can still provide care. So if you are getting care in your home, most often it's transferable to a retirement home. Now, in the retirement home, they mostly do AM care, which is helping you get out of bed, helping you get dressed, also bathing, and get ready for the day. There's also PM care, which is exactly the same as AM, but the opposite. So getting you ready for bed, kind of wrapping up your day and making sure you're all set for the night. They also can help with incontinence. So if someone is very incontinent, sometimes we can get extra Lynn visits. Usually the Lynn visits in retirement homes are twice a day, if we can get it, about 15 hours a week. But if you have incontinence and it's somewhat extreme, medium to extreme, then they sometimes can add in a visit or two. So that's excellent. That also helps with pricing in retirement, and we can talk about that in a little bit. They also have wound care nurses and also end-of-life care as well. Okay, so let's start by looking at your requirements and what they might include. So when you're looking into making a move to retirement living, we need to look at what your needs and wants are. So some things that might be your needs could be budget, the location, maybe a kitchenette, for instance. That could be something that you need. Maybe you've got diabetes and you need to have juice in your fridge or something like that. And then what are your wants? Some people want a pool or a full kitchen. So we need to separate them out and make a big list of all of the things that we're looking for. Secondly, or thirdly, we need to look at what the cost of retirement living is. So what is your budget for retirement living? And this slide, if you were with me last time, is similar to what I talked to you last time, but we're going to go over it a little bit more here. So who is moving? How many people are moving? Is there one or two people moving? Or sometimes I move 3 people. Sometimes it's 2 senior parents and their daughter or son who has special needs. So they can vary on that. Like I said, spouses can stay together easier. There's a second occupant cost, usually around $800 a month. And the studios can, the suites can range anywhere from a studio to a 2-bedroom. And there's also shared suites. So it's really dependent on who's moving and how much space do we need to accommodate. What type of retirement home? are we looking for a retirement home that has all the bells and whistles, or are we looking for a retirement home that has a more homey feel? And this is a question I often ask with my clients. There is a little bit of a difference, as you can expect, in a more posh retirement home. It does tend to be a little bit more expensive, but that doesn't mean that the homier ones have, you know, less care or worse care or services or anything. Sometimes they're just older homes, but they're still renovated and taken care of properly. So that will come down to cost as well as what type of home. When are you moving? Depending on the time of year, depending on if it's in the fall or the spring, or right now at the, you know, in COVID, we're also moving quite a lot of people still. There's special offers that can be had. Also, by the end of the year is a really good time to look, because at the first of the year is when all the retirement homes often change their pricing. Where in town? Location, location, location. So just like real estate, where in town makes a difference. There's definitely pockets in our city that are more expensive or less expensive depending. Also, where in the building. Sometimes there's a extra charge for being in a penthouse suite or a certain view. So that's something to make sure we look into as well when we're looking into the cost and budget of retirement living. Why should you look at the different styles of homes? So again, homey versus the bells and whistle home. One may be older and more cost effective, and one may be newer. But so if it's an older home, it may be more cost effective because of that. But also if it's a newer home, then you might be able to get deals because they're a newer home and they want to fill their building. So that's something to also have a look at. And also the newer homes tend to have younger clientele, meaning that when a new home is built, a lot of independent seniors like the new homes, and they kind of flock to the new homes. So often when I'm looking for a client that is younger, we're looking at the newer homes to accommodate. How long are you staying? So are we looking at a permanent stay where you move in? Are you looking at a respite stay, or are you looking at a winter stay? Respite stays are usually anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months. And a winter stay is usually 3 or 4 months over the winter, so that you don't have to do all of the, you know, go out for your groceries or to doctor's appointments and stuff. You can have some extra help over the winter, and also helps with isolation in the winter. And the bonus, what care you require as you age? So adding additional care, as you can expect, does add additional expense. And so care can go up from anything as minor as helping get your medication all the way up to a 2-person transfer, incontinence issues, and the like. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. So, and as I said before, you know, the questions often come up about COVID and outbreaks. And I can say that in the retirement homes, most of the outbreaks have been one staff member, but people see that the homes are an outbreak and they assume that all the people in the home are sick. And it's not actually usually the case. It's usually that the home has to shut down for the 2 weeks and everyone gets tested, but oftentimes it's just one staff member. So just keep that in mind when you're having a look, because the media does make it a little bit, blended and hard to navigate that way. So just briefly, because I talked about this in the other slideshow, but cost to consider when you're moving into a nursing home. So first we have the basic room, also known as a quad or ward room. They're $18.91, and as I said last time, we've shut down these rooms in Ontario. So we're down 800 beds in Ontario, which means that these basic rooms that used to be 4 people are most likely 2 people now, and there's going to be a certain quantity of them in each home. I'm not sure how they're going to do the pricing, but I do believe that there's probably going to be a certain percentage still at that base rate. Then we have a semi-private room, which is 2 people in a room, and the market rate right now is $22.80 a month. Some of these have shared bathrooms, and others have bathrooms outside the room. Sometimes they're divided by a half wall or a curtain. It really depends on the home. And when you go through selecting your long-term care home, and if you use something like our service, we can kind of tell you what the wait lists look like and how they look compared to other homes so that you can really get a good idea. And lastly, we have the private suites. Just as I said, private, usually private washroom, private room, their market rate right now is $2,700. So we're going to talk a little bit about continuum of care, the building blocks of continuum of care, specifically in retirement living. And this is where I'm going to get into the care requirements. A lot of what I do with clients is we hear out what's happening currently in their life, and then we look at as many possible situations and solutions that may come up, especially when we're working with folks who have dementia, Parkinson's, MS, things like that. It can be anything, but those are some of our top client concerns as well. Okay, so continuum of care with independent. This often means assistance with meals and housekeeping. When I say independent, a lot of my clients feel that they're not independent. But in the retirement home world, if you don't need any physical care, you're most likely seen as an independent client. Most people move to the homes in this situation for social. They want assistance with their chores, housekeeping, and things are getting too difficult. And downsizing, it's too much to take on their house. Sometimes it's a stairs issue. And so we want to, when people move for independent reasons, it's a lot to do with their lifestyle. So when we're talking about one person assist, these people are people who move because they need a bit of care. They also move because they're social and for assistance with chores and downsizing. But they need assistance with their ADLs, like we talked about before. So sometimes they need help going to the washroom, or sometimes they need help transferring. So that can be done in a retirement home too. And sometimes it's a combination of the social, but also getting a little bit of physical assistance. For a two-person assist, also moving to retirement living for social and the assistance with chores, but their assistance with ADLs as well. And this also means that it's everything that the one person assist is, but basically, if you're sitting on a bed and you need assistance for two people, one person on either side of you, to help you out of bed, then you'd be considered a two-person assist. And that can also be with a lift as well. So many homes in Ottawa specifically can do this. As you get out into the smaller towns, it doesn't happen as much, and often that care goes to nursing home. But in retirement living in Ottawa, we can definitely take care of this. And then there's memory care. Memory care, people often do move for social, but the social is different, right? Because in memory care, isolation becomes a problem as well for people who are in their homes. And so if they're in their homes and they're not being engaged, then they need, folks with memory issues need to have a set schedule usually and some extra activities. And so they do move for social reasons. They do move because they can't cook anymore, or, you know, they just can't remember to do little things that do impair their lives. Oh, it looks like they lost me. Okay, let's just wait and see for a second and see if the sound comes back up. Oh, we're good. Okay, great. And they do move, all paused. I'm gonna wait. Can you guys hear me? Yes. Good? I think so. Yes, great. Thank you. They do move for assistance with their ADLs as well. So sometimes it's a matter that they, you know, just need help because of their memory, and sometimes they do need help because of their memory, but also to take care of their daily physical needs. And also they move, folks with cognitive issues also move because of safety and needing directional assistance. So sometimes people are a wander risk, and they can't stay at home because it's dangerous, right? Or sometimes people need a lot of queuing, and in a retirement home, they're able to get direction on a memory care floor. They can do it in the overall retirement home as well, but a memory care floor is really great for someone who needs a lot of queuing. So palliative care is the last thing I want to talk about for the continuum of care. And a lot of residents say, you can stay here all the way up to palliative care, which is true for a handful of homes, but it's not necessarily true for all of the homes in the city. See, if you're in a residence that needs, that can only do a one-person assist, and then you are hoping, or the plan is to stay there for palliative care, but you become a two-person assist in the meantime, then you won't be able to stay there. So you really need to look into this. And again, this is something that we question quite a bit with our clients. These people mainly move because they want assistance with their ADLs, they are on a long-term care list or hospice list that's taking too long, and it's not appropriate to be at home anymore possibly, or they don't want to be at home. Or the environment of a retirement home. Sometimes people don't want to, pass away in hospital or in a hospice, and the environment in a retirement home is pretty close to your home setting, which is some extra support. All right, so let's move on, and we're going to touch base on the solutions in the home. And although we talked about this on our last webinar, I just want to combine it in here so everybody has kind of a rounded look of all the things that we can look for. So again, we spoke earlier about the Lynn. Briefly, they represent a government-funded care team that can come into your home, whether you are getting a little bit of service or you're getting assistance with your ADLs. And then the modifications. So some things you want to take a look at if you're going to stay at home, or if you're staying at home while you're planning this move, again, is the bathroom renos, the redos of the home, stair lifts, flooring, all of these different modifications. I got a comment last time that, when I talked about this on the last webinar, after we went over all of the modifications that might need to be done, they were actually considering making a move to retirement, because sometimes those modifications not only can be invasive in your own personal space, but they can also cost a lot of money. And I was saying on the last webinar that sometimes they do affect your home resale value. So we want to be cognizant of all of that. And then just briefly again, the aids that you use in your home, whether it's a pendant system, whether it's using your walkers or wheelchairs properly, and the alarm systems. If you've got someone that's a wander risk and you put an alarm on the door, or if someone's a fall risk and you put an alarm on their wheelchair or on their bed. So there's a couple of different things like that, and to stay safe in your home while you're making this decision. Okay, so let's explore the care path. What does explore your care path really mean? Well, it's all about looking at the multitude of options and situations that are in front of you in the ideal path, and what the adjustments can be if things don't go as planned. There are many ways to gather information about retirement homes and nursing homes, but let's first discuss retirement homes. So retirement home research. Things that you want to look into for your research are the actual retirement home websites. And although they only give you information about that home, and of course it's going to be very positive because everybody is operating the best retirement home ever, you still need to have a look at the retirement home website, because that will still give you ideas with pictures to see what they're like. It'll give you ideas of location, and sometimes a little bit of idea about their care. Although now with this education, hopefully you'll be able to decipher the care a little bit, but often there's not a lot of information about care or pricing on their home sites. But this is just to give you a base. Social media is a good place to go, but be careful not to fall down a rabbit hole, because a lot of people have a lot of suggestions. And that is okay, but remember that they don't know what your situation is. And if you're going to, compile all that information, you might better use a professional to help you, just because there's no direction in social media. Everybody kind of wants to weigh in, but doesn't have an idea what's going on with your situation. And then there's a general internet search. There's lots of different boards out there that sometimes have ratings and different things like that, and just do an overall search. Okay, So we're gonna also talk to friends to feel out how they've had experiences, because those people are your friends and acquaintances, and they're gonna give you a little bit more advice because they've got yours or your parents or whomever you're looking for's needs in mind, and they're gonna give you a bit more of an honest conversation. Family, have you had family previously go anywhere else? I'm working with clients now that have had bad experience at a retirement home, and so we're not looking at that home for another family member. And homes do cycle, so keep that in mind. If there is a bad experience at a retirement home, obviously you want to have it looked into, but the homes do cycle. That, you know, sometimes they go through a dip, and sometimes the care changes a little bit and then they go back up, and it shouldn't happen, but it does. And it's hard because not everyone's perfect in the homes and everybody tries their best, but keep that in mind as well. And then the residents. So when you're on tour, talk to the residents and find out if they like it there. There's also rating systems. So for the retirement homes, we want to go to the Retirement Home Regulatory Authority, rhra.ca. And that will give you inspection reports and all sorts of information. So you can also kind of keep an eye on what's happening in the home. Also, like I was saying, I didn't put it on this slide, but the daily dashboard, right, for COVID. Have a look there and see if they've ever been an outbreak. I wouldn't base a lot of things on whether people have been an outbreak in retirement necessarily, because it is cycling through a lot of the homes. So it's almost impossible to keep out of all the homes. There's very few that haven't been able or haven't been affected, especially company-wide. And other websites. Again, just kind of have a look around, see what there is. Just do a basic Google search. So for the nursing homes, it's a bit of a different scenario. Let's look at some ways that you can learn more about the nursing homes. So the Lynn waiting list. When you're dealing with the Lynn, they have a waiting list. This is briefly, I mean, it's small on your screen, but it's briefly what our list looks like in the Champlain region. And you can look in there to see kind of what timings of normal. Again, the waiting list at the moment is substantially different because there's a big hold in long-term care. Right now in our area, they're only taking in clients who are on crisis placement, which means that the list is getting substantially longer. In general terms, though, this will give you a good idea of how many people are on the list. The homes websites, again, pictures to just familiarize yourself with them. And a general internet search again. There's a lot of comments out there, so it might be useful. And also social media is the same thing. Lots of people have lots of experiences and they're willing to share them with you. Just take them with a grain of salt. Okay, so also again, friends and family are great to have conversations with. There's a lot of people who have had a lot of experiences in nursing homes. And so it's good to have a conversation about them, but keep your mind open and be objective to what they're saying as well, because their situation was probably much different than what you're looking at. And then there are rating systems. Now I've put I'm gonna put this both up. So I've put these on here. You can also, if you don't get this written down now, the recording will be up today, so you'll be able to look at it in the email tomorrow. The public reporting website is very much like the RHRA for the nursing homes, and this gives you their inspection reports. And then there's also information on Health Quality Ontario. It's a little bit to siphon through, but it is available to you. Okay, next we're gonna look to make the choice. Which direction would you go, and what does it look like for you? This is often the hardest thing to do. Here are some steps that you can do to solidify your choice. So we're going to talk about what to look for when you're touring a retirement home. Firstly, let's look for care levels. We want to know what level of care does the home max out on. Remember, I was telling you about that 2% transfer that's come in contact with us quite a lot. We have a lot of clients who have moved to a retirement home thinking they can stay there the rest of their lives and end up in hospital only to find out that that home doesn't do 2% transfer. So if there's a piece of advice I can give you about continuum of care planning, it's find out what the care levels can be. What do the assisted living floors look like? Are they dark? Are they open? Are they appeasing to you? What do you prefer in assisted living floor? What is the resident to PSW ratio? I can tell you a lot of the homes are often 1 to 10, which is an average. Some are 12 to 1. So it depends on what you're looking for, but having 1 PSW on the floor for 10 residents is very average in retirement living. And keep in mind that not everyone has excessive care. So it may seem low to you. I believe the nursing homes are also 1 to 10. So it's equivalent, if not better. There's homes that are 6 or 8 to 1 resident. So six PSWs, I'm sorry, 1 resident, sorry, 6 residents to 1 PSW. Sorry for the confusion. So that's a really good ratio, but it's not the average. And what does your gut feel about the home? All the time when we're touring in person and also on video tours right now, I want to know how you feel in your gut. Does it feel like a good place to be? Social. What does the activity calendar look like? Are there things on there that you might enjoy? Are they also open to taking advice from their residents? How many people live in the home? Is it a big home? Is it a small home? Does it matter to you? Just something to take into consideration. Are the facilities that you're looking for? Like the picture, is there a gym? Do you want a gym? Is there a pool? Do you want a pool? A library? What's important to you? And that goes back to the first exercise of your needs and wants. You can get quite a lot of things in a retirement home. So it's good to take time to really write down what you would prefer. And also, are there any resident ambassadors, which means there's people that are in charge to make sure that a new resident has almost like a buddy system to introduce them to other people in the home to make sure that they're comfortable. And so this is a nice feature. It's obviously not a must-have because the home's staff will help as well, but I really find that the homes that have the resident ambassadors are doing a really good job to make sure that the people are integrated when they move. What do the suites look like? What are the sizing options? What are you looking for? Are you looking for a studio? Are you looking for a 2-bedroom? Do they have it? Are they available to make? A lot of times when people are looking for a 2-bedroom, we're combining suites, a studio and a 1-bedroom, which does work out quite nicely because usually we get a 2nd bathroom. So let's look at what are the sizing options. Where in the building do you want to live? Do you want southern exposure? Do you want a lot of sun? Do you want northern exposure? Do you want a good view? Accessibility. The suites are often accessible, but there's still some homes that have a bathtub or they do a cutout bathtub. Believe it or not, lots of people are still looking for bathtubs. So this might not be a problem for you specifically, but you know, if it has a bathtub right now, are they able to change that later when it's not working as well for your scenario? And again, what kind of amenities, but in the suite? Is there a full kitchen? Is that what you would like? Or a kitchenette? And then we'll look at location. Where are we in proximity to all of the things that you like? The banks, the malls, your favorite coffee shop? What does that look like? How close or far away are you from friends and family? Depending on your scenario, it might be appropriate to be further from friends and family or closer, depending. Okay, so let's look at what to look for when touring a nursing home. There are less factors to consider, but there's still a few. Mainly, we want to look at what their care and reputation is. Now, in the long-term care setting, technically speaking, all of the care is supposed to be standardized, whether it's a private operator or whether it is a like city operator. And just to go back, I had a question pop up here. And what about parking? Yes, when you're looking for retirement living, parking may be something that you're looking for too, and that goes under the amenities. So for the nursing homes, we want to talk about, you know, what the care should be standardized, but their reputation. You know, obviously some homes have better reputations than others, and that's something we want to look into. And location. Again, is it close or far from you? Often families have come up against a wall because they feel like they're being selfish by choosing a home that's closer to them. But the other side of that is if you're looking for a nursing home, or also called a long-term care home, they're interchangeable terms, for your loved one, they probably or most likely aren't getting out as much as possible. So the closer to you and more times you're able to visit them, the better. So don't feel selfish if you're choosing a nursing home or a retirement home for your loved one that's closer to you, because that just means that it's important for you and them to be able to visit. Okay. And finally, commit. So what is your desired care path? Is it to stay at home and do the renovations and get the care that you need? Is it to go to the family's home, which is organized very much the same as staying at home, but you're just under your family's roof, maybe a daughter or a son? Is it to go to a retirement home, and then you would need to choose a suite, place a deposit, and start the paperwork and the moving process? Or is it to go to a nursing home from your home, and you go through the qualifying process, you get on the wait list, and you make plans for the meantime? And speaking of the meantime, there's one last thing before we wrap up our session today. Let's briefly talk about contingency plans, just the same as we did last time. So what happens if all of your plans go haywire and you are stuck? So in case of emergency, or if the wait list is too long, or if your situation changes, there's lots of scenarios at home where this can happen: a loss of a spouse, needing additional care, or if you're waiting out the nursing home list and then all of a sudden something happens that you need something now. I can tell you that the retirement homes are quite accessible. This is a different climate that we're in right now, but I expect it to go back eventually. But they're quite accessible. And even if you want to do a respite stay, usually you can get into a retirement home at short notice, a couple of days, usually, if you can get the paperwork together. So you just want to keep it in mind, and you want to build a contingency plan so that you don't feel stuck at the end of the day, and you make sure that you're comfortable, and make sure that your loved ones know what your situation is. And I'm going to do this, and if this does not work out and we come up against a wall, then this is my next plan. So I just wanted to talk about a couple of questions I get before we go into our Q&A session. And one of them is the meals in the kitchens. And I talked about this last time, and I want to reiterate, because we are talking about specifically retirement living here. And there's a lot of homes that can do meal rebates. Although not a lot of money comes off, they can do meal rebates, because there's a lot of people in the independent lifestyle who want to sit in their pajamas and read their paper and have their coffee and not talk to people that early. That's definitely where I would end up, and I don't want to talk to people earlier than I need to some days, because you need your coffee. So you can also get full kitchens, and that's nice too. Although with kitchens and parking and things like that, it's nice to have it the first, but often I find that a lot of people don't use it, or they don't use it for very long. So also consider, realistically, how long you think that you're going to use those things for. Can I claim costs on my taxes? So this came up in the question last time, and I thought I put it up because we didn't get to answer it. Yes, you can claim it. You need to speak to your accountant, but the homes often divide out their care and services for, so if your monthly rent is $2,000, there's a portion, usually a 40-60 split, 40-60% split. One is a portion of your rent that covers just the actual rent of the suite, and the other one is care services, your housekeepers, your meals, and things like that. And you can claim a portion of that on your taxes. And so there's lots of different things to talk to your accountant about, but you definitely can. Before we go to the question and answers, sorting out the details of the long-term care is difficult and time-consuming, and I hope that you were able to get some solid information today. Just so that you're aware, I've developed this online course, and it'll walk you through the entire process step by step. So if you're interested in receiving an email when the registration opens, be sure to head over to teaandtoast.ca/course to add your name. And this is what the page looks like, just so you know you're in the right spot. And right now it's just to add your name to be notified. The roadmap to long-term care will offer you insider knowledge on strategies, and it'll save you a lot of time. And these are what the modules look like, just so you have a brief overview of what we're going to be covering in those modules. And there's a couple of lessons in each. And it's a really good course if you are having the fear of making the wrong decision because you're overwhelmed or you're short on time or the terminology is very confusing. So this will help you out quite a bit. And then as a bonus, the NFRA members do get a discount. So we'll be sending out a discount code when the course is opened, and you'll be able to put that in if you register. So the bonus prep tool that I'm going to offer, there's 51 people still, 52. Somebody came in at the end, I'm going to count you. 52 people in attendance right now, which is amazing. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for staying around. I really appreciate it. So some of you did receive this tool last time, and if you didn't, make sure that you go to tntos.ca/downloads, or download, no S. It will be in the email tomorrow as well to pick up the things you should know. This is a planning book, but also this time I'm going to have on the same site the 25 questions to ask when you're touring a retirement home. And there's also additional resources on there too. So have a look at that, and hopefully that'll help you with your journey. And then the early registers, Mariette and Trudy and Sheila, you are all the early registers, and we will contact you to get a free copy of Breadcrumbs, which is my ebook. It's also in paperback, and we'll be mailing you a paperback. You can go to tntos.ca/ebook if you would like a copy. It is there available to you. So we have now got into the questions and answered portion. And so if you have a question that you would like answered, I did see some come up in the chat, but the chat moves pretty fast. So if you could put them into the question and answer part here, I will have a look at it and see if I can help you out. The first question here is, do I bring my own furniture? And this is definitely a question that comes up quite a lot. Yes, you do bring your own furniture, and there's a couple of different things. So if you're going for a respite stay, meaning a temporary stay, and sometimes the winter stay, then you most likely won't have to provide your own furniture. The home will furnish it. However, if you are moving in permanent and that you're making a permanent move to the home, then you will have to furnish most likely your whole suite, including hospital beds and such. And to make sure that you've got everything. And it's also kind of a nice transition if you're helping someone move, because then all of their things are there. And sometimes those folks have been staying in hospital quite a long time. I'd know I want my comforter and pillow when I arrived, so that might be helpful. So the question, I have a couple of questions here, and so let me just look. So are there Lynn's in New Brunswick? So the Lynn's are across Ontario. That's what they're called here, but there are different associations in each province. If you go to tntos.ca, in our services, there is, in the ebook. So go tntos.ca/ebook resources. I'm giving you a cheat here. And there's every province is laid out there, and have a look through there because every province has something. Does the Lynn also provide care for you in your own home? Yes, as mentioned earlier, you can get a lot of care in your own home, not just personal care. So you can get all of that care. And if it is personal care, then often that is transferable to the retirement hood. 1 second here. It should be mentioned, so here's a comment which is perfect. It should be mentioned that in some long-term care homes, the basic room is a semi-private. Homes built before 1999 have 3 to 4 bedrooms. That is right. So some homes don't have any quad rooms. I mean, all of them don't have it now, but before, some of there was only 2 choices. It was either a semi-private, which is a basic in some homes, and a private. So it does, when you're looking at the wait list, it does talk to you a bit about that. That's also something that's in our course as well, because it's about how to navigate the long-term care wait list and how to read it, because it's super difficult. Let's see here. Status of the change of Ontario Health Teams from the Lynn. I think that, so Ontario Health Teams, so the Lynn used to be called CCAC, and now they're changing to Ontario Health Teams, and it won't be called the Lynn anymore, which is super confusing, and we're all still kind of waiting. I don't really have an update on that because we've been waiting for quite a lot to figure out kind of what they're doing with it, but it is in transition now. I think with COVID, it probably got put on hold a little bit. So that's kind of what's happening at the moment. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of information, but I don't know that there's a lot of information out there, to be honest. So I think that is probably it. And I'll give it a couple more seconds here. Anybody else have any questions at all? I think that we've covered everything. Let's just come back on camera for you. And I think Darlene's going to come on as well. There you are. You're muted.
I'm unmuted.
There you go. Oh, wait, there's one more question, Darlene. Just a second.
Okay.
It popped in at the end. Let's see if we get it. Is there a website that provides information and comparison of homes and the cost? Well, honestly, short of working with a professional, it's not out there. The inspection reports are out there, but really to do that in-depth dive, you would have to work with someone like ourselves because it's just that information is not there. And the homes often don't provide in-depth information about costs because costs are subjective based on your own care and suite size. And then also the last one was the download URL. It's going to come in your email tomorrow, but it's teaandtoast.ca/download. Okay, Darlene, back to you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Amy, for your excellent presentation. I can see in the comment box that people who had to leave were very happy, very impressed with your sharing of your knowledge and information. And you've given us a lot of really helpful ideas to consider when making decisions about retirement living. So thank you again. Don't forget to watch your inbox for 2 emails, as Amy flagged, in the next day or so. First, you'll receive instructions from Amy on how to access a video recording of her presentation. And second, Ottawa branch will send you information on our upcoming webinars and on how you can participate in the mega recruitment drive and have a chance to win the $10,000 we flagged about earlier for successfully referring us a new member. I just want to say as well, we will be offering Amy's 2 successful webinars in October. So I'd like to just do a plug here. October 14th, how to stay safe while living in your own home will be presented then. And on October 28th, we will be repeating the 5 steps to your ideal retirement living choice webinar that we presented today, obviously updated with questions and information that you might have asked. We would welcome our members to attend those sessions, as well as you might want to bring a friend to access this information. You will be receiving information on the next webinars and how to access them in our next newsletter and of course on our website. So I'd like to say to everyone, stay safe and take good care. Et merci beaucoup pour votre participation aujourd'hui. Au revoir.
Thanks, everyone.